the balance of my time.
Thank you. The gentlelady yields back, and this time the chair recognizes for 5 minutes the chair of our full committee of Energy and Commerce, the gentlelady from Washington.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2021, Congress wrote the largest check for broadband deployment in our nation's history, more than $42 billion for the Broadband Equity, Access, and Deployment, or BEAD program, $1 billion for the middle mile infrastructure deployment, an additional $2 billion for deployment on tribal lands, and $2 billion for rural broadband deployment through the Department of Agriculture. These funds are just a small fraction of the funding appropriated over the past several years that could have been used for deploying broadband. This is an historical opportunity in our nation's history to connect all Americans, and we cannot allow permitting delays and unnecessary cost to mess it up. Unfortunately, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act spent more money without the needed fixes to the burdensome permitting process. We need to lift regulatory burdens, cut the red tape, roll out the red carpet. Without removing barriers to deployment, a record amount of taxpayer money will be wasted. This means that rural Americans will continue to watch from a distance as technologies advance. Kids will go without access to online educational resources, and businesses in rural America will be left behind as the digital economy continues to boom in urban centers across the globe. This issue should not be partisan. The federal funding wave is coming. The BEAD program will begin awarding money for deployment as early as the end of this year, in addition to the deployment that is already happening from both private and public investments. It was good news last year that the National Telecommunication and Information Administration encouraged states to identify steps to reduce cost and barriers to deployment, promote the use of existing infrastructure, promote and adopt dig once policies, streamline permitting processes, and cost-effective access to poles, conduits, easements, and rights of way. But encouraging and promoting these actions is not enough. It's time for Congress to act and pass substantive permitting reform like the legislative discussion drafts we're considering today. The bills being discussed today offer a wide variety of needed improvements to existing permitting requirements at the federal, state, and local levels. I'm proud to lead the Wildfire Wireless Resiliency Act as a part of our legislative agenda. In wake of a disaster, communities need to be reconnected as quickly as possible when their networks go down. Communications providers working to reconnect victims to the systems that provide access to public safety, healthcare, and resources should not be tied up in regulatory nightmares. Under this new legislation, projects to rebuild damaged or destroyed communication facilities will be exempt from NEPA and historical preservation review, which would have already occurred from the original communications facility to be built. We don't need another round of environmental or historic review when there's already existing infrastructure. And this is one of many we will discuss today that enacts reasonable permitting reforms. Members across this committee are putting forth excellent solutions that guarantee these important federal funds are going to go towards deployment as Congress intended and communities need. I look forward to hearing from the witnesses, to our rural and urban constituents currently under and unserved. Broadband is on the way. I'm hopeful that we can get it to you faster in a less costly manner. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you.